Goosebumps.
When we last left off, you had all been invited to lunch with Abstelar Xanthus, the High Priest of the Sandpoint Cathedral, where you learned sort of a refresher of the history of some of the so-called late unpleasantness that had plagued Sandpoint, and how heavily all these years it had weighed upon Xanthus's mind. He has a desire, a need to summon forth Nualia's spirit, sort of the architect of some of the original dooms of Sandpoint, if you will, to summon forth her spirit and give his forgiveness on behalf of Sandpoint. He has a cleric friend of his that will be along in a few days to help with the Call Spirits ritual. But when he went to retrieve the remains of Nualia in the secluded grave in the Sandpoint Boneyard, they discovered that the grave had been tunneled into from below, and the remains were missing. And so Father Xanthus has asked all of you if you would delve into the tunnel below and see if you can find and retrieve Nualia's remains, most likely from ghouls. Ghouls that are known to haunt the underground cemeteries, feasting on the remains of the dead. You had a few questions. Father Xanthus, sort of to the best of his ability, assuaged your concerns and offered you a fair quantity of vials of healing potions, anti-paralysis, holy water, things of those nature to help you along with the promise of 75 gold pieces each. You agreed. And then you said, when the video game dialogue box popped up and said, "Are you sure you want to continue?" You clicked, "No, wait, there's a few things I want to take care of first."
Save game.
It's like in Baldur's Gate 3. Things are about to change the game forever if you proceed.
No, not yet. There's something else, I'm sure.
And so you've all decided there's a few things you would like to do first before you go crawling into an undead hole. I said what I said.
If we could never ever call it that again, that'd be great. That'd be amazing.
I guarantee
call it that every time.
I guarantee you that will not be the last time we say an undead hole.
Incredible.
So, what would you like to do? What are you going to do? Let's find out. Let's do it this way, because I can also show that I've added to this stream a nifty dice roller. It looks like Moa'Kee is... actually, sorry, there's not 6 of you. There's 5 of you.
He's in the 6th spot, though.
Yeah, true. You know what? Screw it.
I think if number 2 gets rolled, you get to pick. You see.
Sure.
That's how it works.
Sure. Moa'Kee, what are you doing and where are you going to prepare for this adventure?
Moa'Kee is... he's full. You know, he had a great meal. So he's full. He did have a little hair of the dog, considering he was drunk this morning. His goal is he's remind me, which magic shop sells scrolls, arcane scrolls?
There are a couple of locations that sell scrolls, I believe.
I'm trying to remember which one he hasn't pissed off.
Great question. Narrows the list significantly.
There's only one he would have pissed off, actually, but
good.
Let's find out.
I'm going to the Curious Goblin, but that's just me.
Curious Goblin. Okay. I believe he's pissed someone off there. That's the one. I'm 99% sure that's the one he pissed someone off at.
You can also check at Turandoc's Academy to see if they have any.
Ooh, there you go.
Oh no, he doesn't want to go back.
I don't think.
He does not.
From what you've told me,
you?
from what you've told me, you haven't yet pissed off Chas Kaladin.
Okay.
At the Curious Goblin.
Okay, so it wasn't the Curious Goblin. Okay, someone else. Okay. We're gonna see if Moa'Kee's gonna piss anyone off. So he's gonna make his way to the Curious Goblin. On his way back to his room, before his room at the Rusty Dragon. Stumbling in. Since we know Millie was also planning to go there, is anybody going together? Are you guys splitting off to do your own things?
Going to my apartment.
All right, we'll come back then so continue, Moa.
Actually, Millie, are you heading over to the Goblin too?
So there's this moment where Millie's like, I've got to run some errands. I have a few things to pick up. And she starts walking and looks, and Moa's kind of like walking alongside her. Like, oh.
Are you heading to the Goblin by chance for some items?
As a matter of fact, I am. That is one of my stops.
Can I join you real quick? I might be able to. I just got to check to see if they've got something, and then I'm just a quick thing. But
have you pissed off Chask?
No, I have not pissed off Chask. Nope.
Then yes.
Nope. Okay.
You can go with me.
Excellent. Now I might say I'm hoping I don't piss them off now, but I'll do my best.
Well, you're just going to have to use your people skills.
I have them. The question is using them is the question. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, as we make our way, this nice little
the Curious Goblin is a cramped but well organized bookshop with a wide front porch. The front porch is one of those. It's kind of like Sandpoint's Cracker Barrel. It's got a bunch of handmade rocking chairs out front.
Yes. Great biscuits.
And there's a couple of people that this is where they pass part of their day. And who you see there might depend on the day or the time of day. There's a couple of old timers that are sitting there in the rocking chairs. A human man and a human woman. They both look to be in their late 60s. Wearing like bib overalls, and both of them are smoking pipes, have straw hats, and they're drinking big mugs of what could be coffee or ale, you're not sure. And they're just carrying on a quiet conversation by themselves. As you head into the store itself, there's a little jingling of the bell above the doorway, and you see the namesake of the store lift its head up. It is a large Maine Coon cat with light gray fur named Goblin. Goblin just sort of lifts his head up lazily, gives a slow blink, and then lowers its head back down, but keeps its eyes, and most importantly, you can see the ears sort of twitching as you enter. It is one of those shops that from the outside you wouldn't believe there could be this many items inside, but it seems to be very well organized. There's a lot of books. The books in here range from whole selections of fiction and a lot of local history books, things like that. And then there's several shelves that have those sort of crisscrossing angular shelves where just scroll upon scroll upon scroll has been tucked in. You can see kind of moving in the back, looks like with an armful of scrolls, whistling quietly to himself, is the proprietor of the Curious Goblin, Chas Kaladin, a human male, huge blonde beard, long blonde hair that's pulled back into a braid. He has the look of somebody who once upon a time may have been an adventurer and may have been in really good shape. But kind of he's settled into the quieter life, gotten a little bit soft around the edges, but there's that look about him that says if you mess with him, he can still bring it. He's kind of turns down and he can now see you as he continues to whistle, and without even looking, he's just taking these rolls of scrolls and just going putting them in their proper places. Puts the last one in there as he approaches the two of you, kind of dusts off his hand. Well, good morning. It's good to see you. Good afternoon. As he glances past you and looks outside. Sorry, I've been organizing scrolls all day.
Oh, busy work.
Busy.
Is it okay for Goblin to have a little treat?
Oh.
You know, if you're bringing treats, Millie, it's always okay.
Wonderful. Millie reaches into one of the pockets of her dress and pulls out a little piece of ham.
You don't even have to walk
a little bit of ham sometimes as a treat.
You don't walk over to Goblin. When you mention treat, you hear a... I'm sure that just got gated. I don't know.
It did not.
Okay. No. You hear this sort of... And strangely, Goblin is now perched on the book stack that is closest to you. Goblin is not an ordinary cat. Goblin has the ability to teleport short distances.
Magnificent.
Yes.
Especially when Millie brings treats.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants a little treat? Goblin wants a little treat. Oh, here you go. Oh, such a good bowl. So, oh my God. So, Chask, this is actually a business visit. We're going on an adventure.
Oh, again. It's been a little while since you've done something, hasn't it?
It has.
Yeah. Millie, I'm going to take Chaz just for a quick second. I just have a quick question for him, and then he's all yours, and then I'm just going to get out of here. So,
oh, sure. You go ahead. And
appreciate it, Millie.
Scratching on Goblin's face.
Chaz, I got a big favor. As Millie said, we're going on an adventure, and I'm kind of short-handed right now in the way of scrolls and gold. And I have a proposition for you, and I'm wondering if you can help me out here since we're going on an adventure. I know you've got probably a scroll of Force Barrage. I'm wondering if you'd be interested in if I could procure one for this adventure, and when I get back, I'm gonna make some, and I could give you 2 as a payment for it. You know, pay now, let me have now, and I'll pay you later type situation. It's a one-time deal. Would you be up for something like that?
This is a very curious situation you're putting me into, Moa'Kee.
I know. And
you're wanting me to give you... You understand, this is the opposite of a layaway plan. This is...
Yeah, but I'm giving you 2 in return when I get back.
If you come back.
Well, when I have time to scribe, because I'm going to scribe another batch for, I just don't have the resources to do it right now.
Where are you going?
Millie, I'll tell you.
That's twice now. You're trying to get me to give you something on the promise of information later.
Well, me and Millie and a group, we're going on an adventure. The details are still a little fuzzy. I've been kind of up all night, so I got the gist that we're going on an adventure. And they need me. So, and I want to help protect Millie and everyone too. So, but if you say no hard feelings. Like I said, just wanted to throw it out there.
What I'm gonna need from you, Jay, is I'm gonna need a check.
Yep.
I'm thinking it's a diplomacy. I think that's how this game works, right?
Yeah, diplomacy or social, but yeah, I would say diplomacy.
In this case, you're definitely you're definitely engaging in a level of well, it falls under a request. So okay. Yeah, go ahead and make me a diplomacy check.
Since I'm unskilled in diplomacy and have a +0 in it, this is gonna get good.
Oh, what?
And I rolled a nat 1. So
That's perfect. The
So-
dice don't
Oh, yeah.
lie. The dice gods.
Chask listens to what you have to say. He gives it a good think. In fact, he says, "You know what? Let me have a seat on my favorite stool and think about this." And he pulls out a stool from kind of tucked under one of the tables that has some books displayed on it. And as he pulls it out, you see that the stool is in 3 pieces. And he goes, "Oh yeah, that's right. I can't sit on my favorite stool because the last time you were in here, you drunkenly broke it." He puts a hand out on your shoulder, and just in a friendly way, and he just says, not this time.
no worries.
Gold?
No hard feelings.
You give me gold, I'll give you scrolls. But no
worries. Hey, you know what? As they say, it doesn't hurt to ask, right? So, barter, no worries, no hard feelings. Please help Millie. You have a great time. Have a good day. I'm going to bed. Night. And Moa just walks out the door.
Incredible.
Of course, Millie, you heard this entire conversation. Before I
Millie,
turn it over to you, Millie, though, Jay, is there anything else that Moa wanted to do to get ready?
No, he's going to go back to his inn, get a good 8 hours of sleep, get breakfast, and redo his spells for the next.
As a reminder, it's 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
Okay, so you're pretty
hungover
much
right now,
yeah.
Jake. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect bedtime.
Yeah,
I
so
got
he's
you.
going to go to bed for maybe 4 hours, get up, have a snack, then go back to bed and get up at a normal time, prepare for his spells, reorganize his spells, actually get ready and be at the location on time. He's not drinking tonight. Oh, yeah. He's
So I believe
Moa showing up.
I believe that's something that we had discussed offline, was that you had also decided you guys all wanted to start fresh the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, you guys all didn't like the idea of waiting until after dark to go into the grave.
Oh, no. That'd be silly.
Okay, with Moa'Kee's departure, since Millie's already here, we're going to go on to Millie.
Millie just sighs deeply as Moa leaves. For heaven's sake, that boy was not raised right.
He means well. He just doesn't always remember our previous interactions.
Oh. Well, yes, I guess that's true. Well, so the adventure that we're going on is going to have us going into things and climbing things, and well, these old joints. So I was wondering if you happen to have, amongst all of your many, many scrolls, a scroll of helpful steps.
Oh.
Let me think, said the GM as he's looking at available spells.
While Jake is looking at available spells, check us out on teespring.com. At teespring.com, you got all kinds of great apparel options, like the one Tamiko is wearing, the one I'm wearing, and all kinds of other great stuff. You can get it on t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, mugs, and all kinds of other stuff. Teespring.com. Just click the link in the description for this video.
Helpful steps is a common spell that's level 1.
Wow. Millie did her research before she came. I love that.
Chask starts moving along the very same racks that he was placing scrolls into without even looking, knowing exactly where they went. And he's kind of, helpful steps. So what are you adventurers up to this time?
Oh, the usual. It's like clearing out rats, but deluxe.
Deluxe rats. So a little bit of climbing, going somewhere underground, huh?
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere that helpful steps would be good. Are you going tonight?
Well, if there was a choice between climbing up a 40-foot rope or a 40-foot ladder, guess what this gal would want to do?
So is this something you're heading off for tonight or later tomorrow?
Heavens no. Did you see Moa'Kee? He hasn't slept yet. First thing in the morning, bright and early.
Go ahead and, just for fun, make me a perception roll.
I love Millie so much.
And
okay. Perception. Where is my perception? Oh, there it is. +7. So that's going to be a 3 plus 7 is 10.
all right, hold on. I just rolled right past what I was looking for.
Millie has no idea what's happening.
It's not just that. I'm gonna do this because I want to roll where you can see me. You just don't know what I'm rolling. It's an 8. So you got a total of what you said?
10.
Chask reaches up and he pulls a rolled up scroll and puts his hand up to pull another one, and he says, did you want one or two of those?
Oh, just the one.
All right, well, and he kind of takes the scroll and he kind of taps it in his hand and he goes, you keep your secrets then. But I'll need 4 gold pieces for this.
Is that what I thought it was?
First rank scrolls are 4 gold pieces.
Then yes. Okay.
So he hands you the spell scroll. You now have a helpful steps, or whatever it was called, first level spell scroll.
Thank you so much.
Anything else I can do for you?
Not right now. I'll probably be by later, though.
All
if
right.
for nothing else, then to just see goblin. Who's a goblin? Who's a goblin?
Goblin is purring so loud that it's like rumbling one of the nearby shelves, and you hear glass like.
To our anachronistic ears, it weirdly sounds like a motorcycle driving by.
Yeah, 100%.
So Millie's next stop was a little controversial because she wanted to pick up some alchemical supplies. And apparently in Sandpoint, there are 2 places in which to do that. One of which is a little sketch, but reliable. The other place is, produces items that can be a little unpredictable, just a little unpredictable. But they're not associated with criminal organizations. So Millie has chosen to go to Bottled Solutions and take that chance because she doesn't want people whispering behind their hands that Mama Millie's going into the freaking pill bug, you know.
Amazing.
In hindsight, she probably could have sent Moa'Kee or somebody to the pill bug instead, but hindsight.
So you head to the not terribly far away to Raven Street to Bottled Solutions. It's a cluttered shop. As you said, the alchemical supplies are plentiful and varied here, but they tend to be a little bit lower quality than those offered at Pillbugs. Bottled Solutions is run by Nisk Tander, a male half-elf.
I'm also going to note that the notes say half-elf and not the Andruviolin or whatever it is we are.
Euveren.
Euveren.
So
Yeah, I waffled on which way to go with that. In the case of your characters, going with what they're listed as in core, keeping in mind this book was written before the remaster came out, and I didn't make all the adjustment yet. I will say, just to settle this right now, half-elf and Ovarian are interchangeable.
I'm going to say
awesome.
half-elf the whole time.
I was going to say,
prepare.
I think that I like to think that in this world, it's the elves themselves who probably tend towards the Ovarian word, where others...
Elves are so stuck up.
So, okay, so in the interest of what is it? I know you said don't rush, but I mean, we don't have to role play out this whole thing.
Well, so
unless you
here's the
want
thing.
to.
We are at the beginning of a long campaign that you're going to be coming into Sandpoint shops a lot. So, I mean, might as well set up who these people are that you're interacting with.
Okay. Sure. So, Millie goes into Bottled Solutions. The little door probably goes ding ding.
It actually doesn't.
Oh.
Dead silent.
No, what you hear is some kind of a atomizer has just sprayed.
Christ, it's like Hollister.
I need you to roll a D100, please.
Oh dear. Oh dear. I'm rolling D100s already. This is a Jake campaign. 96.
I'm rolling a D100 on screen.
Ooh.
I rolled an 18, which is significant distance away. In this case, I wasn't doing for a percentage, but I wanted to see how far away from it you were. In this case, it's really good that you were far away. The closer you were to the number, to us having the same number, the higher the likelihood that Nisk was testing out something very noxious. In this case, you catch the faint odor, though strong, you catch a faint odor of lavender.
Oh, that's pleasant. Hello?
You see a middle-aged looking man, bald, across the top of his head, the thick white furls of hair that go back, and then you can see his pointed ears sticking up. He's got these little round spectacles. He's leaning over on the counter, looking over some handwritten notes, and he just kind of looks up over his glasses. You here to buy something? Or you just here to make the smell chime go off?
I mean, a little bit of column A and column B. No, we're going on an adventure soon, Nisk. So, there's a couple of things I wanted to pick up from you if you got them.
What do you need?
Well, I was fixing to hopefully pick up a bottle of lightning, lesser bottled lightning, and a ghost charge. Mostly because it's fun to say ghost. Ghost charge.
How many of each of these are you looking for?
Oh, just one. For now.
Just one. Fine. He grumbles as he sets a brass paperweight on his notes, turns to walk away, lifting up the wooden counter as he walks behind it, and then he stops. He glances over at you, takes the sheafs of paper that were under the brass paperweight, tucks them under the counter, and then puts the paperweight under there, then continues on his way.
Well, okay.
This man does not move with any sense of urgency, either because of his age or because he doesn't want to be rushed. But he moves to the location of the bottled lightning, pulls one of those rolling ladders across, climbs up it. You hear bottles jingling. He pulls one bottle out, and then he takes one step down, turns, and says, "Just the one, right?
Oh, yeah, just the one for now.
If I climb down this ladder and you ask me for another one, I'm charging you double just to climb the ladder again."
Oh, no, I totally understand. It's a little weird because, you know, the player's guide led me to believe that you were a pleasant man.
I don't know who this player's guy is.
What's the player's guide?
What was the other thing you asked for? Ghost something?
What is it? Ghost charge. Lesser bottled lightning ghost charge.
Hold on 1 second. Things locked up on me, which I don't like. Ghost charge.
I played bass in Ghost Charge in college.
That's a ghost charge. Interesting. Okay.
They're both level 1 alchemical grenades. They're 3 gold apiece.
So he gathers these 2 items, brings them over to the counter. Before he walks behind them, "This is all you wanted."
For now, yes. Millie's still smiling.
6 gold.
Of course. She counts out the 6 gold.
All right. He takes the gold from you.
If these work out, I might be back next week.
Make me a straight charisma roll, please.
What's a straight charisma roll?
I forget, a flat.
the
Flat's the
D20?
word I wanted. Flat's the word I wanted. So you're just gonna roll just your charisma in your modifier. You're not using any skill or anything with it.
Okay. Oh my. That's a 16 plus 4. That's a dirty 20.
as you hand him... Dang it, Vi. As you,
Damn it, Vi.
as you hand him the gold, he hands you the 2 items, but you kind of see, he kind of furrows his brow a moment. Then he lets go of the items as he hands them over to you, and he goes, don't mind my mood. Just working on a tricky formula, and you kind of pulled me out of the whole process. It's not your fault. I'm a store. I'm open, and you're a customer. You're supposed to be serving. Anyway.
Well, it's no problem. I know how it can be when you're concentrating real hard on something.
Yeah, so I'm going to get back to that. You go do your adventure, and if you survive, you'll bring your friends. You buy more stuff.
Of course.
And I won't charge you extra for my sunny disposition.
Good luck with your formulas.
Good luck with your... whatever.
I love that so much. I love him. That's
Millie
amazing.
leaves, starts walking back towards the White Deer Inn where she stays, muttering under her breath a little bit, try not to blow yourself up.
He doesn't give any indication, probably as the door's closing. He didn't hear or doesn't care to respond.
Amazing.
Natalin, you're up next.
She's 4.
1, 2.
How are you counting?
There's only 3 of you left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and
you
5, 6.
skip. I understand.
Not everything's about math, Cari.
It's okay. It's fine. I can't wait to hear from Evelyn. Go.
So Natalin, once we've talked to the father there, she's just going to go back to the Rusty Dragon. She just kind of comes in quietly, nods to Bethana, and then kind of heads down the hall into the back, one of the back rooms where she has a room to sleep in. I guess it's early afternoon, so she will just pull out a book. There's this tome she's got on her shelf. It seems to be quite well worn, the pages, as if it's been read a lot. And she spends some time reading that, and then it's going to be a quiet evening, and then she'll, eat and go to sleep and wake the next morning to get ready. I don't know how far you want me to go.
Mostly, I think it's if there's any particular interactions you want to have, anything special you would do to get ready for an adventure.
Not till the next day, I guess. Like if we fast forward to in the morning, she'll get up very early. She spends some time donning this extremely, like I said before, she wears these layered but very light clothing, all in the colors of like white, pale blue, and seafoam green, and they're extremely flowing, but they don't constrict the movement of all as she's getting dressed. And then she will head back out to that spot behind the House of the Blue Stones, where she looks out in the water and does her I've lost the word, kata.
Kata, yeah.
Yeah, kata. And yeah, I mean, that's how she's going to spend her morning. When it's time to go meet the others, she will go back to the temple. And before we start out, I do want to have a scene with Velynia, but I'll let Velynia do what she needs to do.
So
and I will...
You want to have an interaction with Velynia the morning before you go into
Yes.
the dead hole. The undead hole.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, listen,
Yes, I do.
calling it the dead hole is deeply offensive and almost as deep as the hole. And I would like if you just, you know, picked a
Stop.
lane.
Sticking with the dice rolls, it's now evens and odds.
Ooh.
Lumi. I decided you were odd, so.
I am quite odd, thank you. Lumi, well, as the party scatters to about the various errands in this late afternoon, she stands still in the cemetery in this boneyard, looking over the tarped over grave of Nualia. She's fidgeting with her hands, kind of like scratching the back of her hands. Her tail twitches a bit nervously. She looks over her shoulder, sees that Father Xantus is returning back to the cathedral to go about his whatever he is up to in this late afternoon. She hums and haws and then skips, kind of little quick shuffle, running after him. Father, a moment. I wanted to she like scratches her arm. She's looking down at her feet. I don't really know how to say this. I heard what you had said about Nualia and about how she wasn't like looked after well by the previous father, and I'm just I'm really happy that you are who you are.
Oh, Lumi.
And and she just like spews out a bunch of incoherent words as this burst of emotion washes over her as her eyes tear up a little bit. She will go in for a big hug around Father's like waist area.
I think before you go in for the waist hug, he's already kneeling down. Father Xantus has that one of his traits is that he always meets you at your level, not in a so that he never places himself above you to be speaking down to you, even since you were younger. He's always brought himself down to your level, and he does so again as you come in for the hug, and he brings you in, and he doesn't just give you the sort of generic hug that he might give to parishioners of the temple. He gives you a father's hug, as one hand sort of wrapped firmly around the other hand, kind of the back of your head. I hope, Lumi, that you know I've only ever seen you as my daughter.
She like wipes away a little tear with the back of her hand.
I'm glad you are who you are. But I see a lot of potential. As difficult as it was for me to assign you this quest, I think it would be good for you.
She nods.
He kind of pulls back just a little bit, but stays down on your level, and he kind of puts a hand on your shoulder, giving you a reassuring squeeze, and he looks as if he wants to say something more. And instead he smiles, and you can see that kindness in his eyes, but you can still see that weight that he's carrying, and a little bit of sadness behind his eyes as well. I know that you will do great things, Lily. I hope that wherever you go, and whatever it is that you do, you'll remember the things that I've taught you.
And I'll remember you. And she puts her little clawed hand into his chest.
And he places a hand on yours. Well, for now, you're just taking a little stroll down below the boneyard. You're not sound like you're leaving Sandpoint or anything.
I just wanted to let you know that I don't feel like you neglect me or treat me like some strange trophy, and she just like bursts out sobbing again and dives back in to weep into his chest.
And he just holds you as long as you need it. You hear that comforting sound, something I imagine that Father Xanthus has always been having a deeper voice from the time you were at a young age. I imagine you probably sought solace in his arms, crawling in his lap, and hearing the sound of his breathing, or even as he's talking to somebody, or the quiet laughter, that deep resonance in his chest with your head up against it. And even now, as he holds you, you just hear the sort of low rumble of a chuckle. A chuckle of adoration, just, and he just continues to hold you for as long as you need it.
She pulls away a little bit. I'm gonna get those bones for you, Father.
I know you will.
She looks. I think I have to go get ready. She kind of glances around, seeing that all of her party's scattered and are off doing errands. She's in the middle of the courtyard here weeping. Like, she needs to go do stuff. I think I need to go get ready.
You go, do that. Get ready, do what you need to do. I trust you know what needs to be done.
And she will give Father another squeeze before letting go, turning her back to him and continuing into the cathedral, past through the main
as you leave the main
sanctum.
cathedral, I want the camera to stay with Father Desna for just Father Xanthus for just a moment. As you run from the room, he stands to his feet. He glances up at the stained glass window showing Desna, in honor of Desna. Please, protect her and her friends. They have a long and dangerous road ahead of them.
Dude. Wow.
The sun, in the process of changing position at that moment, or perhaps a sort of a divine wink, there is a little flare of light through off of one of the butterfly wings on the stained glass of Desna, and in that flash, we transition through another window to you running off to continue whatever it is you're doing.
Oh.
She goes hustling through the sanctum of the cathedral, up. I imagine her room is like up in like a loft somewhere in the cathedral. So she's like scatters up
how very
ladder.
Disney princess of Lumi.
Yeah.
If you'll allow, I'm gonna say one of the lesser towers. You have basically 3 levels that are, you have like your own little split level apartment, so you can have different levels that are dedicated to like sleeping and studying and whatever else it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this whole section of tower that's like whatever ladders and methods you need.
And she immediately, like, her brow furrows as she enters her abode, her room, and she's like, I have to get ready. she says out loud to no one in particular, as she rummages about through her belongings, opening drawers and throwing papers and objects and trinkets that she's accumulated over the years. And she like holds one up to the light that when it comes in through the window, you can see it's like a small little potion vial. It's like, oh, this one, yeah, this one might come in handy. And she goes and finds a little talisman that she personally like had unearthed at some point. She's like, that'll do the trick. And she tucks it into her pocket and grabs her longer like bandolier where she keeps her star knives and other weaponry on. And she unfurls it from whatever hook it's clasped onto and kind of adjusts it on her person, adjusts her armor pauldrons that she straps to her shoulders, and the armored skirt that she would wear around her waist. And she has a mirror in this room, and she's like kind of checking herself out and doing little poses, making sure that the armor's all fitted properly. And then she will go, oh, no, one more thing. That's right, she says again to no one in particular, as she like slams shut all these little drawers and cabinets that she keeps her stuff in, and she'll like, I imagine there's like a ladder that is how she gets up to this place. She like slides down this ladder like fireman style, and immediately just runs bolting out of the cathedral itself, all decked out in her armor and gear, and runs up north to, I forget the name of the inn, but the inn that I know that Millie works and stays
The
at.
White Deer.
The White Deer. And she'll like burst through the front door. She'll like give a little wave to the proprietor, and immediately go to the kitchen where Lumi just assumes that Millie is at all points in time, and hope that Millie is there. She's trying to find Millie, basically.
I think
Millie
Millie, I think you would be there. Enough time of your shopping has gone by.
Yeah, so Millie's in there and she's stirring a pot, contents of which are unknown.
To us or to Millie?
What's that?
To us or to Millie?
Oh, what is it? Probably to Millie. She wasn't here cooking this. She's just stirring a pot.
Garrett just, when you walked in, he just hands you the spoon
here.
and goes on to doing other stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Don't let it stick.
Lumi bursts through the kitchen door. She like leans up against like a frame, and she's like kind of catching her breath a little bit. And Mrs. Millie, I have a favor to ask of you. Do you have any more of that butter?
Oh, of course, dear. It's in the cold pantry over here because we don't have refrigerators.
Does it have to stay cold?
God. Your attention to detail
Okay.
is immaculate, dude.
Can I take some for the road? Well, not the road per se, because there's not really a road that's I don't imagine there's really a road that goes beneath there, but you know what I mean.
Of course, dear. They're in individual crockeries. You can just grab one.
And she slide like scoot past you.
Peek in it though to make sure you're actually grabbing butter and not like lard.
And as you say that, like she already has like one in her hands, and she's like, oh, and peeks open first. And she like doesn't really know the difference between butter and lard at this point. She like probably like dips a claw in and like, I think that's butter.
I'm gonna say you actually can see when you look at these what are called butter bells, these little crockery things that whoever it was that through the clay, it's like embossed in there, lard or butter. I was trying to send an image.
Labels. What kind of an organized kitchen is this? What?
Maybe Millie doesn't is in his.
They're painted on, and there's like little like flowery lettering with like butter, and then it's like lard with like little flowers next to it or whatever. Yeah.
That's perfect. That's
in
perfect.
the Sandpoint chat for Discord, I've just dropped an image of a butter bell.
Amazing.
What I imagined as
Mhm.
soon as you said that.
That's perfect.
And so
Gear-
she'll grab this little ceramic thing. She'll like take out one of her random claws that she has, and she'll like wrap it and fold it and tie it up just so that it doesn't fall over randomly.
Are you all set for tomorrow?
Yep, I am, she says as she like stuffs this butter into her satchel.
It's exciting, isn't it? Going on an adventure again. All of us together.
And so you see that she was like starting to like leave the kitchen, but when you say this, I was like, oh, it was kind of exciting. You can see that her ears kind of like droop a bit from behind, and she's kind of like, she turns around. I'm actually really nervous.
What
She
is the
says,
matter, dear?
This
Come,
father
sit
said there's
down.
ghouls.
Sit down. Tell
and
Millie all about it. Would you like a ladle full of what is this? I don't even know what this is. Stew? Porridge. Stew. I think it's stew.
Well,
Mm.
I didn't have too much to eat at lunch. I could have, she says.
Millie grabs a bowl, flips some out. Stew. I was right. It's stew.
It's
Brings it over.
it would be venison stew.
Oh.
The white deer, sort of implied in the name, features a lot of venison dishes. Garrison is an avid and quite accomplished deer hunter.
Here you go, dear. Now you eat that up and you tell Millie what's wrong. Is it because we haven't been out in a while?
It's that, and I know this is really important to Father, and well, it's dark and below the earth, and the schools, Father said, and I don't know if it's been a long time since we've gone out, and I don't know if last time we fought undead things, I got really hurt really bad. You remember this, right?
I remember.
I just can't shake the weight this is gonna happen to me again. I won't let it happen, but I also don't want it to happen to any of you either. Any of you. And she holds this stew of soup, and I know I'm small, and if there's a lot of ghouls, I'm not gonna be able to fight them off. Not like Velynia can, not like Moa'Kee can, not even how Natalin can.
Well, dear, you know nobody's expecting you to fight them all off on your own. That's why you're the what is it? We're the whole of our parts, not individuals.
Yeah. No, you're right. We have each other. We have each other, and it's gonna be scary, and it's gonna be troubling, and it's gonna be ghastly, but we have each other.
Well, remember what we learned last time. It's okay if you gotta flee.
This is really important for Father. We can't let him down.
Right. Sometimes, though, it's best to just get out, regroup, and replan.
Yeah.
But we won't know until we see what's down there, right?
I just look at who Father called to help him out, and I just feel like the odd one out sometimes.
Well, you're certainly not.
Like, I know that
Yours-
you're a really, 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 really talented spellcaster, and so is Moa'Kee, and Velynia is well renowned with her bladesmanship, and Natalin is such a disciplined, trained warrior and elementalist. But me, I'm just a little kobold that lives in the chapel and reads books and collects trinkets. Like, what am I doing here?
But who's the smartest little kobold that I know? Who's got the most knowledge about all of the lore?
That's me.
And who does the best job of finding the paths and finding those traps?
And Velynia, I think that's kind of up in her wheelhouse. I think she's got an eye for that one. I think.
While true, I know of a certain young lady who's always brave and wants to lead the pack.
Is that me?
That's you.
I am. She gets up nervously, holding this bowl of stew that she's barely touched. Can I take this with me?
Of course, sweetheart.
And thank you, Miss Millie. I think I feel better about this now. And
I'm glad for that. You really
She-
underestimate yourself sometimes.
maybe you're right.
It's hard sometimes to see how special that you are because you're you. I know I always have a hard time remembering the ways I'm special, but that's why I keep Monty Cristo around. He reminds me.
Yeah. Well, Father always likes to call me his special Lumi too, but yeah. No, you're right. We're gonna do this. It's gonna be just like old times. Just like old times. Nothing unusual, just a little task for Father, that's all this is. And ghouls.
We've got this.
Angles.
And
We're
she gets
gonna
up.
kick some hiney.
We're gonna kick some hiney, she says, mimicking how you say it. And she'll stride out of the kitchen, but she'll pause in the hallway and like give you a wave. Have a good night, Miss Millie. See you in the morning.
Good night, dear.
And she'll walk more somberly, more pensively back to her little cathedral bedroom, where she will sit in her little nook and eat her now like room temperature stew, while she ponders and is filled with a little bit of dread, but a lot of pondering about what is to come.
Little dread, a lot of pondering.
And that is all she does to prepare for the next day.
As as you head out of the White Deer, Garridan just glances up from at the back of the kitchen where he's been working on various cuts of venison. Some of them he's preparing for the pepper crusted venison. Some of them he's preparing for. Some of them are he's putting in like the candied venison wraps that they do. All that. He just looks up at you. You keep giving away all of my dishes. You're gonna have to pay Hayless for another batch of crockery.
Oh, I will replace the crockery. Don't you worry. They always bring it back. Well, I collect it from time to time.
It's hard to keep customers in here when you keep sending them off with all of the food. Huh. He kind of stops mid-chop. What if we did delivery? I'm gonna have to hire
Food
somebody.
delivery.
So I'd have to hire somebody small and agile to dash from door to door, but
That's what we could call it.
and he just starts mumbling to himself as he's coming up with this totally unique food delivery idea.
What an idea
Brilliant.
that would be.
I have a feeling it'll really take off.
Yeah, there's another place in town that's thinking of the same thing, but they just call it Super Eats. Velynia,
Yes.
where, or rather what and where are you doing what you need to prepare?
So, in very stark contrast to this adorable scene between Lumi and Millie, Velynia just kind of goes to where she stays. She's going home, as near home as this place is for her. It is actually a place that's kind of down by the docks. It's Mavashti's place. It's a hostel technically. There's no private rooms. It's just kind of a common room where there's like several beds set up. Though it is kind of evident that Velynia has been here for longer than the average tenant, because her bed is in the corner where kind of nobody can be behind her, if that makes sense. And her space is a little bit more like lived in. Like there's an extra pair of boots just sitting by her bed. A couple of just things that make it look like more like somebody's staying here and has been for a few months. I imagine she just kind of walks in and goes to her area of this room. There's a few people milling about, but this place is fairly empty during the day. It obviously gets much more busy at night when people come and actually need to make use of these beds. There is a locker near her bed, a closet at least with a lock on it, and she would just kind of like wearily open this lock and look in this closet, and her armor is hanging there, and she just kind of like looks at it and like looks it over, kind of like pulls it out so she can see it a little bit better in the light, just checking it for anything that's wrong, that she maybe didn't quite get fixed after the last time. And she doesn't see anything. It is in good shape, and what needed to be fixed has been fixed. So she would pull out of this closet a few of her weapons. She has a short sword that is in a scabbard, a little dagger, and then kind of like a little, just like a bag that she pulls out, and it kind of has like a jingle to it, almost like a maraca like percussive sound. She would shut her locker up again, not lock it obviously, but pull these weapons over to her bed where she just kind of sits and just kind of one at a time, very methodically starts sharpening. And you would notice she's not really paying attention to what she's doing. This is such a practiced motion that she is not looking at the blade. She can just kind of hear by the way it sounds, it seems like, whether it's sharp or not, and whether it's ready. And in fact, she's kind of like gazing a little bit, like not off into the distance because she doesn't want to draw attention to herself. She doesn't want to be a weirdo, but she is kind of like gazing just sort of at the floor about 8 feet in front of her. And this is kind of like her ritual that she does before she and the gang go out. And what she's doing in her head is kind of running through scenarios of how this mission may go. And she's essentially goes through them quickly, and she's going through hundreds of possibilities. Some that end in us fleeing, some that end in us dying, some that end in her making it out but her friends dying, or vice versa. And all of these are just kind of preparation for how she will handle certain things as it happens. And again, she kind of looks almost like in a trance as she's doing this and as she's kind of accomplishing this ritual. And eventually she gets done with all of her blades. She packs them away just as she got them out of her closet. It's been a few hours now. And she packs them back into her closet. She digs into her satchel that she had brought with her to the cathedral that day, and she pulls out like what looks like a little like burlap pack, but it's like kind of squarish. And she pulls it out, and she had stolen a sandwich. Not that she had to steal it. She could have just taken it, but something in her made her like want to keep that a secret. I feel like this is what kleptomania is. But anyway, she had fixed herself a sandwich and saved it for later, and now she's just kind of sitting on her bed, and kind of watching as Mavashti's place starts to fill up for the evening. And she's still kind of half thinking about their mission tomorrow, but she is kind of emptying her mind of it and trying to be at peace as she eats her sandwich before she goes to sleep.
Somewhere during the around the time you finish packing up, putting everything away after you've sort of checked all your blades and maintained all your stuff, you hear the hard-soled heels clicking across the floorboards of the Varisian individual who sort of oversees Vashti's place. They are a non-binary person by the name of Jolin Verneath. Remind me if I don't. Usually I'm trying to give you guys these names and their spelling as I say them.
I have it highlighted in my printed materials that I keep all the time.
Jolin Verneath is they are a tall person that tend to wear darker colors. Even in the warmer temperatures, they wear leg wraps or pants, but some kind of a long skirt, heeled boots, and then corset and dark colored low cut blouse, but with those big puffy sleeves that then come tight here. They, for all intents and purposes, they look like a witch. When you think witch, or at least how you think a witch might dress. But as they approach you, they just say, I know that we had decided to maintain your privacy as much as possible. I do not wish to interfere in any way. But you should know that a traveler came through this afternoon while you were gone. Did not wish to have a room, looked around. I kept him away from this room before even identifying anything that might belie your presence here. Yet they knew to find you here. They left this for you. They hand you a rolled up scroll of parchment sealed with a black ribbon and black wax. The signet in the wax is an intricate letter S and letter C.
Velynia takes it, and just kind of, she had been kind of like almost transitioning into laying down, and she sort of sits up and takes this from, is it Jolin? Is that how you say it?
Jolin is how I'm pronouncing it. Jolin.
Just takes it and kind of is thinking for a second and just nods and said, well, thank you. I always appreciate my privacy being respected, as you always do. It is appreciated more than you know.
They nod. Hesitate for just a moment. And then turn on their heels. And you hear as their footsteps fade as they head back in towards their own quarters.
I imagine, like, after Velynia thanks her and she leaves, she just sort of like turns this scroll over in her hands a few times and looks again at that seal. And she would just kind of like stand up quickly and go to this locker, which still isn't locked because she's not like going to sleep yet. And she just puts it on top and like this, like a shelf, and then shuts it and goes back towards her bed, and then kind of like looks over her shoulder at the closet and returns and locks the lock. And then I think she goes to sleep for the night.
To be clear, you did not open it.
I did not
Okay.
open it. I got other shit on my mind, like a quest and an adventure with my new buddies. Oh. I imagine, yes. It would maybe the next morning would be perhaps when I connect with Natalin.
So
Would
before
that
we
be a
do
great
that,
thing to do after
as
the
you
break?
as you head to bed, that is where we're going to go ahead and take our break,
Perfect.
and we will pick up the next morning with Natalin and Velynia's meetup before you all head into the Undead Hole. We'll see you back in just a few minutes. And we're back. It is the next morning. Everybody is gathering at the boneyard of the Sandpoint Cathedral. The secluded area where this tarp is, sort of where Naffer has covered the open grave, and it's sort of, when you're looking at the map of Sandpoint, it's in that sort of southeast corner, sort of tucked away from all of the other graves. But because of its location on the east side, the morning sun is basically illuminating the grave, the boneyard. So the entire boneyard is, there's a bit of that morning mist rising, mixing with the saltwater breeze, and long shadows cast as everybody begins to gather in the boneyard. And I believe Natalin and Velynia, or Natalin, you were seeking out Velynia for a scene.
Yes, I believe Natalin would have been waiting for Velynia at the chapel, knowing that Velynia is typically, early, so she'd get to catch her early enough. So I think when she sees you coming up the street or however, she would leave her post just standing outside the chapel door there, the main doors, and would start to approach you. Velynia, if I may, I would like a word before we.
Velynia would kind of smile at you, and she is holding like a it's like a cup, like a tin cup, very much the way Lumi found her yesterday. She's drinking a cup of coffee as she walks, but she is much more like ready to go. Like, she looks essentially like my character art, much more like armored and armed and ready for this quest. And she would nod and she'd be like, very well.
And I think, sorry, lost my name. Natalin would just kind of give you the brief head nod and then take you away from the chapel a bit, so that we are, if the others do arrive, like, we're still private, having this conversation. And she just kind of leads you a ways, and then she stops and she turns back and.
Real quick, if she's taking Velynia to like a private-ish place, Velynia would kind of smile as she finishes her coffee and packs the cup away and is like, if I didn't know any better, dear, I would think you were leading me away to assassinate me or something.
And the look of horror kind of just passes over Natalin's face, like, I would never, Velynia, no.
I'm joking. You wanted a word.
Yes, yeah, I do. I would never, Velynia, you must believe I would never.
Natalin, I'm sorry. My sense of humor is clearly very much different than yours. I apologize. I know you would never do such a thing. Now, about that word.
And you see, like, there's a little bit of a confusion when you say, like, sense of humor is like, really, do I have one? But she just kind of like, okay, I didn't offend her, I guess.
Velynia is
know.
smiling as comfortingly as she is able, which I imagine is like we've adventured together before, and Velynia just kind of smiles and nods and kind of waits for Natalin to be comfortable as she's going to get.
To unfluster herself. I think this may be a common thing that you do to Natalin is fluster her by saying such
100%, 100%.
And so I think she's now a little bit not going to say nervous, but she's like, you can see that she's kind of struggling to get back to what she was trying to say, and then she eventually calms down. You know, she gets her center again, and she's like, Natalin, I wanted to thank you so much for saving me when we were fighting those harpies. I would have died if it hadn't been for you. And at this point she kind of reaches down into this like cloth bag that she's got, and she pulls out this beautifully crafted throwing knife, and it's got the Tian look to it.
Oh.
And she's like, I want you to have this. Mako left this for me, but to protect myself, but I think it would be best in your hands. You could protect us so much more with this.
And for a second, Velynia holds up her hands and she's just like, I couldn't. It's not mine. It's meant for you. It's beautiful, and I believe me, I would love to take it, but it's yours, don't you?
I have no need of such things. And if this will help you to protect us all, it is best in your hands. And she's like holding it out in both of her hands. It's not like a big knife, it's a throwing knife, right? But she's holding it in the palms of both of her hands to you.
Velynia would take it, and kind of like as she takes it, she like flips it in the air and like catches it like right by like the tip, and just sort of like looks at it, and it is beautiful. I imagine, like it's got this like, holy smokes!
It's well weighted. It's gorgeous. It is a magical throwing knife. It's a +1 throwing knife.
Holy cow! She would like toss it again, and like catch it balanced on her fingers, and it's like perfectly balanced like you just described, and then she like tosses it and catches it again, and it's like Velynia looks almost confused. It's hard to put a finger on her expression right now. Ironically, she looks almost as uncomfortable as Natalin looked just a second ago. And she takes it and she puts it in her pouch, and she just kind of like looks at Natalin, and she's like, you have to understand, dear, that when we travel together, we'll be saving each other's lives all the time. I mean, you remember what happened to Lumi the last time we all went out together, and Lumi came back alive, and that was, who was it that like helped Lumi? Was it someone that saved her, or was it just kind of everybody? Vi?
I think it was.
Or do we know, or is it a secret?
No, I think it's one of those. It was a team effort for sure.
Okay.
I think probably Moa'Kee was probably one who actually like carried Lumi.
Okay.
Which like Lumi still doesn't really know how to process that part.
such a dick, but then again, he saved my life. So Velynia would just kind of be like, it'll happen back and forth, and I, for one, don't plan on keeping score.
I would never think such things. No, that is not my intention at all. I wanted you to have this. It is far better in your hands than mine.
I think Velynia like holds it kind of to her chest, and she takes Natalin by the shoulder and says, well, thank you. The first ghoul we run into down there is getting this right in the forehead.
And I think Natalin doesn't smile often, or rarely at all. And I think at this moment that kind of makes her kind of crack a little bit of a smile when you say that, just a hint of one.
Velynia looks up and she's like, well, we best get to move on. We don't want everybody to beat us there.
You are correct. Let us go.
I imagine we make our way to the...
Right back, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
And so Velynia and Natalin join everyone else as you've all arrived to the boneyard, preparing to make your descent.
I want to say one thing. The group, when Moa'Kee shows up, or when you see Moa'Kee, he's shaven. He's in his full adventure gear. And what you notice, he generally wears like a vest over his armor and stuff like that. But because you can't see what's under his main weaponry underneath it. But yeah, he's sober and he's ready to go. Which is
Moa'Kee, you look more hydrated than usual.
We're going on an adventure after all. Someone needs to save each other's butts.
And Velynia would kind of chuckle at that and look over at Millie. Is Millie there yet?
Oh yeah.
And kind of be like he's gonna save our butts. Sure. That kind of face.
Lumi comes scrabbling out of the cathedral. She got like water skins or whatever, a whole bunch of like gear like underneath her arms, and she's like, that should be everything. And she pants and hands out extra supplies for everyone. She's like, make sure that we have all this, and she's like being a bit particular about this. She gives everyone kind of like shoving in your hands like extra water or whatever. And then she'll one by one check to see if your if your supplies are all good, if you're all geared up properly. Like,
is Lumi just feverishly going around us to the point where we're like, okay.
Yeah. And so one by one she'll just be just checking, making sure everyone's doing okay, has the proper gear and hasn't left anything important. And then she'll pause by you, Velynia. She's like, may I? And she gestures to your hip area.
It depends on what you are asking, if you may.
Your buckle's a little off center there.
Oh, by all means, dear.
And she'll lean in and just refasten one of your armor buckles and position it so that it distributes the weight and whatever of your armor properly.
And Velynia moves a little bit. It's like, thank you.
It notices a bit off center, and now it should fit better.
Must have been for a while. That feels better than when I got it. Thank you.
And she'll do a little tap of her patting her hand on her handiwork, and then she'll pause and recall her hand a bit. And she looks to everyone else is everyone ready to go? She says a bit meekly because she's not ready to go at all.
Abstelar Xanthus comes out into the courtyard as well. Well, I see you all are wasting no time getting started with the morning sun. Are you? Well, you all look certainly ready. I wanted to greet you as you head down. Just remind you.
I wouldn't leave without you, Father.
Don't get
No,
in
don't
over
say
your
bye
heads. No pun intended. But if things get hairy down there, come back. I will be ready with healing magic if necessary. There's no need to push yourself further or risk anybody's well-being too much. There's no shame in running for the entrance or exit, as it were. Be safe. And you see his posture shifts a little bit as he takes on more of the official high priest look, as you see him he makes a couple hand motions. May the blessings of Desna guide you.
Oh, that's
And also
right.
with you. Oh.
We need our safe word, so we know when to run.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Almost forgot about the safe word.
Quintessential.
Quintessential
That's
is a
an
terrific
awfully
safe
big
word. It's a lot of syllables. Like, if we're really in trouble, I think we'll get to quint and then just kind of... Perhaps something shorter. 2 syllables max.
Beholder?
That's 3 syllables.
What if
But
a
it's not
beholder
bad.
actually shows up?
Well, if a beholder actually shows up, we should be running.
What happened with like a good old fashioned just, hey, I think we're over our heads. We should get out of here.
That's even longer than quintessential.
It's unambiguous.
Pork
fair.
chop.
I think pork
Okay.
chop is
Pork
great.
chop.
Lumi looks down
Not
at
much chance
like
of us.
her packed lunch for the
Pulls
for the-
out one.
for the journey.
Well, I guess that's out. You better go back on the PB&J.
She eyes
Packed
a
lunch.
she eyes her packed lunch that she has.
She's got like a little lunch pail.
I'll wait until we're back for that one, I guess.
All right.
Pork chop it is. So, just for clarity's sake, when someone says pork chop, that means that we should turn our tails and run.
That means get the fuck out.
Okay.
Moa, just as that looks over at Velynia, takes out, suddenly just magic, it's like that magician's
Sleight of hand.
just sleight of hand, and all of a sudden a silver piece kind of appears in his hand, flicks it
Oh.
towards Velynia and goes, same bet, who gets hit first gets to keep.
I do believe I'm quite a few silver up on you now, Moa'Kee.
Yeah, that's very true. But there's always a new adventure. And
There's a new
then
adventure.
as he looks down at the hole and the he kind of unzips, but just kind of pulls away his vest and to reveal all his bandoliered wands
Jesus.
that are stuck in there. If you saw Firefly and Jane as he goes and kind of goes he's like, time for adventure, and just kind of like pulls it down to show all the wands, and he's like, ready to rock.
I Am Iron Man starts playing in the background.
As you look down into the entrance, you see that the looking down into here, it looks like it descends roughly about 20 feet down to get into the undead hole. It's going to require a little bit of athleticism to safely descend the 20 feet into this hole. And we have your marching orders. I'm going to ask each of you to make an athletics check as you descend into
Yay.
the pit.
Athletic shot.
While you do
Here it
that,
comes.
I'm going to get the map ready.
Sick.
Not to ask the question as old as time, but could I do an acrobatics roll instead of athletics?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
using my agility and
Lumi-
parkour nature.
Yeah, I know. I was
Lumi
thinking-
backhand springs straight down this hole.
Yes.
I was also going to ask that question.
Yes, I
Moa'Kee
will.
does the
I will
same.
allow that.
Okay.
I'm just taking the rope. And I'm gonna go down.
Now, I believe I have to assign your tokens so that you can move them. We did that on the last map.
Yay.
Hopefully
See if
they
I
won't.
still,
Hopefully
oh,
they
good.
won't. Get,
I can move independently without a certain kobold hanger on.
She's just
Millie,
nervous, okay? She'll hold on to your...
Millie, you
If
have ownership.
she ever needs to know Velynia's there, she's just gonna grab you by like the end of your horn and just kind of like give you like a little jostle.
Ow!
Millie, you should have ownership of both of those tokens.
A kind, gentle, sisterly jostle.
Don't go moving your tokens too far, please.
I actually can't.
Well, I haven't given you ownership yet. Now you
okay.
do. In fact, don't move your tokens at all yet. I'm just assigning your... Going forward, I'm going to have this figured out, but I couldn't assign ownership until you were in here. Natalin, you disappeared for a moment. Okay. So, how did everybody do? What do we got? We got a 15 for Moa'Kee and a 15 for Lumi. Everybody else got higher than that, and I realized it did not port the dice roller over to this screen. So I'll make a note of that as I look for some dice. Actually,
Hashtag production notes. Hashtag mini terrain domain. Welcome to 7 Dooms for Sandpoint, everyone.
yes. Lumi, roll me 2d6, please.
Oh God.
You
oh
got it.
God. If Lumi falls, can I catch her?
That's 2 1s. That is snake eyes.
Lumi and Moa'Kee, as you are scrabbling down into the pit, each of you individually, you knock some stones loose. You get hit sort of, Moa'Kee, you get hit on the head. And Lumi, you sort of catch your foot and stumble in the last little bit and fall forward. You're each going to take 2 points of bludgeoning damage.
Jesus.
I'm going to start you off right.
It's like the first scene in There Will
Can I
Be
do
Blood.
can I do a reaction?
For Moa'Kee, you could, because you're right behind him. Well,
But not
what? So, Lumi went down first.
Could
So, unless you are you doing, what is your reaction? Let me ask that question first.
My reaction is to do air cushion, which is kind of like it's like Featherfall, but not really, because this is Pathfinder. Basically, one creature that's within 60 feet of me that is falling, I can make it such that they take no damage when they reach the ground.
Then yes, you could do that for Lumi.
Damn.
Because you're watching as each person goes down. So yes, that would make sense.
I imagine Velynia reaches for Lumi, but like just misses her.
So
you get a tail that slaps you on the cheek.
as Moa'Kee kind of gets beamed in the head from one of these loose rocks, and then you finally descend, Natalin. You can all see now. The open grave has led you down into a cramped 4-foot-tall tunnel, dug through the hard-packed earth and clay. The walls are supported by bracing made of wood that appears to have been scavenged from coffins, driftwood, even shipwreck salvage. Faint smudges and scrapes track through the dirt, leading southward. For all but Lumi, this is going to be difficult terrain because the ceiling is only 4 feet high.
Amazing.
Lumi stands tall and proud in these tunnels.
So that's going to mean I didn't find a way to limit or indicate on here, but you'll be able to move. And I also forgot to add in, there's supposed to be a thing that shows you when you move your token how much movement you've actually moved. But you can use the ruler to determine how far you would be able to move. Lumi, you'll be able to move at full distance. Everybody else is moving. Let me clarify that with one of our resident experts. I forgot to check. Difficult terrain in Pathfinder, is it the same as what we're used to, that it's half movement? Or does it function? Jay, you're muted.
Yes, I believe that is the proper. It's the same for difficult terrain as you add. It doubles.
Nice. Damn it. My speed is an odd number. That means I'm gonna have a frickin' fraction.
Yeah, it's just gonna round down.
Yeah, just round.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. So Lumi, you have at the lead, you can kind of see that this tunnel you're in like 10, 15, maybe 20 feet ahead of you. I guess I have a ruler so I can tell you exactly how far. Yeah, so about 15 feet in front of you, you can see it does open up into a larger space. As you are all kind of looking into this area, anybody who would like to can make a survival check if you want to take a look at these small tracks and scratch marks in the floor.
I will. What the heck? Might not go well. Oh, I got a 22.
Okay.
Tracks.
You've
scratches.
noticed as you're second in here and having to crouch over, you're closer to the ground than you're used to being.
What do you know? Somebody left a piece of gum.
You can tell looking at the scrapes and smudges on the ground that it looks as though several small creatures have dragged something larger from Nualia's grave to the south. You said that was
like
a 22,
small
right?
creatures dragged something from Nualia's grave towards the south. I relay that to my comrades here, and I kind of show them what I'm looking at.
That must be the ghouls.
It could be.
Or you think something else?
Does Lumi seem scared? Like,
yeah. Not scared, nervous. I wouldn't say scared, just nervous.
Okay. Velynia would kind of like look up at you, and Velynia only has low light vision, so she could just kind of like see you, and she would just say I'm sure it's just the ghouls, dear. Be brave now.
Mm-hmm. It opens up this way. And she'll like stride forward, not impeded at all by the crouching and squeezing. She'll be light on her feet. She's gonna be light on her feet, as she is nervous and isn't gonna be like, whistling loudly and kicking rocks or whatever. But
Stop.
We'll like move to the mouth of the entrance.
Okay.
And like look back to her companions and be like, and kind of like mouthing, "It opens here."
As you get right there, Velynia, or Lumi.
Sorry.
And anybody else, you can go ahead and move up. Go ahead and make Velynia and Lumi, go ahead and make perception checks.
Perception checks.
Ooh, that's a 23.
I got a 16.
Okay. That is high enough for both of you to hear, kind of echoing around in the room. It's really hard to discern where it's coming from, other than it's not coming from straight in front of you, because you can see sort of the open, more of this wooden timbers that are spaced evenly throughout this room. You do see that as you, in a few feet, you'll emerge from this tunnel. The ceilings are 6 feet high. It means Velynia and Moa'Kee in particular are going to be ever so slightly heads against the ceiling, but it will no longer be difficult terrain once you move into that room.
Just can't walk with a spring in my step.
You can see that these wooden timbers, the little wooden squares you see throughout, are also connected to a network of wooden beams moving across the ceiling as a sort of support system. The walls and floor give you the appearance that they have been dug out of the clay and soil by clawed hands. You can see several large, flat boulders that have been left in place, protruding out of the floor. They're all flat-topped and look almost like makeshift tables. You maybe wouldn't have thought table if it weren't for the bones strewn across the top of these stones with, even at a distance, though there is one not too far away from you, you can see the tiny teeth marks all along these bones. But Velynia and Lumi, with that perception check, you also hear whispered voices from within this chamber.
Velynia would put her hand up, like to kind of tell people to wait.
I would like to hit the crouch button on my keyboard.
I imagine Velynia does reach forward to Lumi as well, just making sure that like she sees it and she doesn't go any further.
You can see her ears are very perked up. She's hearing. She's trying to like actually make out what they're saying, if possible.
Both of you can actually hear words as the voices are continuing. You hear,
"I don't understand why Glaucus won't let us go up top. We could go at night. We can snatch them from the beds and bring them down below and let them ripen. Then we can eat them up. I know. I'm hungry too. So hungry. I don't understand why he makes us stay down here."
You Lumi, you feel Velynia's hand like on your shoulder, kind of like squeeze reassuringly.
I think she's holding it.
Yeah.
She gives it a white knuckle grip as she's listening.
It's been so long since I've tasted ripe flesh. The bones here, every last morsel, every bit of marrow has been sucked clean. The bones are dry and brittle. I need ripe meat.
and it continues with this. Several voices. It's hard to tell how many that are that are complaining about their hunger, and you do hear a slight shift just a moment later as a couple of them are saying,
"You go ask Glaucus. No, tell him. We go tonight." "No, I don't want to. Do it. It's your turn. He always says no. He's going to say yes one of these times. That's how it works. You keep asking and asking until they say yes."
Oh my god, these are like toddlers.
Pretty much. And then it becomes circular of, well, you've got to do it because I'm so hungry. And then the dialogue loop continues. It's
White knuckle gripped onto your hand on my shoulder, Velynia. Lumi begins to unsheath one of her star knives from her bandolier with her other hand, and she doesn't like look up at you, but she kind of like looks over her shoulder just a bit. Her ear kind of pulled back to listen to anything that you might whisper to her.
I would say, wait for mine to go. And I would kind of whisper back, is it Millie right behind me? I would whisper back to Millie a very, very brief version of what we just heard and let her know that in just a couple of seconds, we're going to kind of stealth forward and tell her to relay that, like telephone slumber party style, back the line.
You do.
Amazing.
Okie doke.
And when Velynia is fairly confident that that message has been made its way back to Natalin, she would kind of tap Lumi on the shoulder and signal that it's time to stealth forward or go forward cautiously.
Lumi has a very forward stance, almost resembling like a raptor. The way her tail is like straight backwards for her balance, so she can like be really low to the ground, prowling on the pads of her feet. Lean forward with the star knife at the ready, and she'll take a few cautious, careful, stealthy steps forward to try to get a visual on where these voices are coming from, like peeking around the corners and stuff of this cave entrance.
Before you move, give me your stealth roll.
12 on the die plus 9 is 21.
Nice.
Okay.
I would like to say Velynia has pulled out her short sword as well. There's like just barely enough elbow room in here to like get it out, but she does.
All right, you may.
Lumi hears you like struggling to get it, and she'll like unclasp something with her tail for you just to help you get it out.
Oh my god! And remarkably, that gives her like just enough room, and it's incredible.
Lumi, you may creep forward and peek around the corner.
And she immediately she spots
God.
hostiles to the northwest, and she immediately like duck back, pressing her back up against the wall around the corner.
What?
And I think I saw 3. Yeah, I saw 3. She like gestures with her fingers. 3 around, gesturing to where they would be.
Ducking back around, you listening. You don't hear any disruption in their conversation. They don't seem to have noticed you peeking around the corner.
Mm-hmm. I would just ask Lumi very, very quietly. I would just say, did it look like they were looking this way?
They look preoccupied. I don't think they saw us.
You see this smile come upon Velynia's face as soon as you say they look preoccupied. And she would come up kind of like, you said Lumi's very short, right?
Yeah, she's not even 4 feet tall.
Velynia would like lean over top of you and look around the corner.
Yeah.
I imagine she sees like, it's like that boink, 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 like head.
Lumi's looking up at you to like see your reaction. She's like watching your face.
Go ahead, since you have vision attached, go ahead and peer around how you would peer around with your token.
Okay. Probably like right here. Sorry, but right on top of your token.
You can
probably right about there.
Yeah, right there you can see 2 of the 3 that Lumi identified.
And do they look preoccupied?
The one that is the let me get my pointer. So this one right here.
Yes.
He's the one that the others seem to be trying to convince to go ask Lorcus as he's standing at the opening to another passageway. I said a name you've not heard, but well, actually you did hear the name. They keep saying, "No, go ask Lorcus, go," and he's moving like he's gonna move. And I should clarify, what you actually see are goblins. But they have pale blue skin and gaunt yellow eyes, saggy skin. In places, the skin is torn and you can see bone. These are undead goblins. They are goblin ghouls.
Oh my god. Goblins? Good
Goblins.
lord.
Goblins. I can't believe neither Paizo nor I thought of that.
Lumi looks up to you, like literally looking up to you. I could toss a stone and like pull him over here and we can get the drop on him.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah. Lumi will like look around for a decently sized like stone.
They're all over the place.
She's gonna slowly scoop one towards her with her tail, and then she's gonna lean down, pick it up. And she's gonna try and lob this like ping pong sized rock over in this direction to try to make as much noise as possible, hoping to like have it bounce off of a few things to draw the attention of the goblins, the ghoulblins.
I'm sure she throws it to a place that is like exactly 20, 25 feet away from where Velynia is right now. That would be ideal.
Let's see.
Great. Anywhere over here would be great.
Perfect. Yeah, she tosses it over here somewhere.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Great.
Tosses it, and then like she'll like try and push you a little, just not like push, but like gets you to move around the corner a bit so that we can hide from any investigating goblins.
Yep. I move back just a smidge, and I'm ready to.
So I can now move.
Yeah. Sorry. Hey, get off me! Hey, psst. I can't move.
It's fine. I can just duck between your legs. It's fine.
As you toss that, the others of you, has anybody else moved up, or are you just waiting for them? As you see, I guess Millie, you're the only one that can kind of see Lumi grabbing a rock and Velynia getting ready, and then you see her throw this rock into the chamber, and you all hear that sort of as it clatters into the area. And you hear, "What that?
What was that noise?"
And
go check it out. No, you. Fine.
And one of the goblins comes wandering over this way and is trying to see what is happening, and is basically looking in this area and does not seem to have noticed you.
Oh my god, awesome. I would look over my shoulder at the rest of the party, and I would just kind of nod. Like, let's light this candle. And I think Velynia would try to stealth up behind this goblin. And I would wanna try to.
As soon as you step into the light, you see what you didn't see before: the other 5 goblins.
Oh Christ!
So move yourself back just a hair.
Okay. Okay, I can move myself back.
No, not that far. Not that far.
Okay. Oh, okay. Perfect.
Step out to where you kind of move. Yeah, right there.
Right there.
So as you move forward,
There's 3 of them.
So even Lumi didn't move far. This is why I'm loving
Oh!
the fog of war and the lighting and stuff in here, because you just didn't see them.
Quick.
And that's why I had you move your token, Velynia, because I wanted to see if you would spot them.
Because I have more hit points.
As soon as you move out into this area, you hear,
"My Kabiri, dinner has come to us!"
Oh.
And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh my god, what a cliffhanger.
I'm not going to start a combat with just 10 minutes left.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh god.
I think
that would be such a great way to end like an episode of a show.
I could not have planned that better for you to not see them. And so I was rolling to see how many of them were going to go, and only one of them had a super low. He rolled a nat 1 on his perception, and it wasn't about noticing you guys. It was just he's the one. If anybody else had rolled low, 2 or 3 of them might have gone out. But the fact that Lumi only saw 3 of them, Velynia only saw 2 of them, and I knew there were a couple more hiding over there. I even had them move forward a little bit when the rock sound landed, but I couldn't have planned that better.
This started with the idea like, oh man, this is going to be the quickest mission ever, to, oh shit, this is going to be the quickest mission ever.
So, yeah, we will, we'll see what happens with this next week.
God, no.
So, yeah, we'll start off with an initiative. Lock everything in place here for next week. And Yeah, I like how this campaign is starting to unfold. We're getting to interact with some of the townsfolk, learning who people are, getting tiny little reveals about each of your characters, some wonderful RP moments, and you're on your first dungeon delve, and it's already not going to plan.
I have a quick question for the actual people in this game. Did we establish like exactly what events had happened, or are we all just improving? Okay,
We're all
super.
improving.
I figured we were just yes-anding each other, but I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something.
I believe it's loosely based on, and this was again something we didn't mention at the beginning of the campaign. You all are level 4, you know that, but for the audience, right. the characters are all level 4. It's established that they've adventured a handful of times together in Sandpoint. They know the people in town. They live here. And they've got a little bit of a decent reputation from doing a few things. And some of this was outlined in the player's guide. They were sort of a choose your own adventure. Yes. We used a hybrid of that for me to determine what kind of starting items you would have in addition to your regular starting gear. Additionally, there were some encounters that were outlined in there. Kaeryn did specifically ask me what was something you would have gone up against, and it was harpies. So if you need to, or if you're looking, again, I'm totally cool with you guys improvising on what some of these were and the specifics of the events, but you can reference that, or kind of level appropriate for level 3 and below. Those were your previous adventures sort of around the area. But yeah, I trust you all, and I love seeing how you create these relationships that are established. Yeah, this was another great session from the GM's point of view. I hope you all enjoyed it as well. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thank you to Kaeryn and Tamiko and Cari for subs and bits, getting you guys, you're self-supplying your domain dice, but that's how it happens. Thank you to everybody hanging out in chat. Another shout out. If you want to see some higher resolution views of the artwork of these amazing character arts that appear in the opening sequence on each of their windows, as well as their tokens, check out Lunchbox, who has just been shouted out, but Lunchbox is also on Blue Sky, and just started today with Millie. Is gonna, each day I believe, they're going to share some views of the artwork, and is already clamoring for a TPK so that he can do more character art for you all. So
you're in Lunchbox's
I would be
pocket,
remiss,
Jake. I know it.
I would be remiss because I don't remember if I said this last week, but a thank you to Tamiko as well, who was the one who reached out and commissioned, knowing who the artist, who knew just the perfect artist to reach out to. So thank you for that. I'm loving these characters. The more you reveal about them, the harder it will be for me to inevitably kill one or more of you. It won't stop me. It'll just make it difficult.
Your tongue.
That's why we have pork chop.
That's why pork chop is in place, Jacob.
I love that. As soon as you got down in there and looked around the corner in our side chat, Karen's like, pork chop, pork chop, pork chop.
Pork chop. Nope, it's dark. I hate it already.
I love it. So yeah, next week we will start with a roll for initiative. That's always a fun way to start a session. In the meantime, for everybody hanging out here, of course, you can tune in tomorrow for some Scavenger and the premiere of Kids on Bikes Season 3, Welcome to Paradise, Michigan Genesis, this Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Again, thank you to everybody who tuned in. If you're watching quietly, lurking in the shadows, or you're watching on VOD later, know that we appreciate you and hope you are enjoying the show. And of course, as always, a tremendous and huge thank you to all of these people who I am thankful and lucky to call my friends. But just getting to play this game with you all is going to be amazing. So thank you to Vi, Kaeryn, Tamiko, Cari, and Jay, without whom this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want.
Goblin pork chop.
Pork chop.
Pork chop. It's Moa'Kee's fault.